Hi, and welcome to the Lawschooli.com explanation of PT34 Game 2. I'm Evan Jones, and today I'll walk you through this unbalanced game that is a bit unusual. The tricky thing about it is we're told exactly where the game pieces can go, and then not much more. And we don't necessarily have to use all of them, and only one can go in each of these 5 spots. So it's 6 into 5, slightly unbalanced. So the key rule here is that no lecture is given more than once. You see one M in this order, and that's it. That's all you can have, for example. Where can these pieces drop in? First day, the first lecture that can be given, we get the possibility of K, L, and M. And then on the second day, we have the possibility of K, L, M, and N, so they can speak on a wide range of speakers, this lecture. Then it's more restricted in day 3 and 4. Just M and N are possible. The last person can do O, P, and N. Now, if there's ever in the history of the LSAT been a game where a key inference is critical to your success, it's right here. It might take you a couple problems, to realize it, but I think most people will get around to it eventually. However, you're going to be more successful if you get to it up front. And the key to realize is because these guys can only be used once, say I use M here. Well, then I'm forced to use N here because I've already used M, and then I'm going to be left with nobody that 4 can speak on. I've already spoke on the 2 subjects that he can talk about. So it's only an illusion that M can actually be talked about this day. So this is a kind of a rare case where the LSAT's really trying to throw you off. That M's not possible here. Same here, and the same thing happens with the N. You try and talk about the N here, well then you talk about the M this day, and then nothing left to talk about on the 4th day. So this N is just an illusion. We've got to get rid of it. And same with this N here. So now there's not a whole lot of possibilities for the game. These guys, 1 and 2, they're going to speak about K and L. 3 and 4 about N or M. And 5's going to talk about P and O. And we're going to have a pretty easy time from here. You certainly don't have to do this, but I just rewrote it in the way that we're much more used to seeing it. And with that, we're ready to attack the questions. Note that one of P or O is never going to get you, so that'll be the odd man out, one of Plato or Occam. Now, I think if you didn't make these deductions up front, this question's going to help you realize it, because it asks what could be true. The first speaker talking about mill? No, that can't be true, right? You'll try it and maybe figure out that it's no good because you run out of possibilities for 3 and 4, and eventually you're going to work around to concluding that this is what your main diagram looks like. But anyways, we've got it figured out already, so it's pretty easy to just take out this question. First speaker, mill, no way. Second, mill, no way. Second, Nietzsche, not possible. Fifth, Nietzsche, not possible. We're left with E as the correct answer by default. Fifth speaker could definitely talk about Occam. That's still preserved as a possibility down here. 9 asks us what the maximum number of different schedules for the lectures is possible if you follow alphabetical order. So the only way to do that is K, L, M, N, and then you've got the choice between P and O, which represents 2 different orders. So go to where we see 2 possibilities and our answer choice is 2. That's it. I tend to hate questions that are like this, but as long as you stay calm and really make sense of what's going on, not too big a deal. For 10, we're asked to identify some information where if we know this, we're going to know the schedule for the rest of the week. So I'm thinking that anything that tells us about 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then 5 is going to do the trick, right? If we know this is K, we know the other one's L. If we know, for example, that this is M, we know the other one's N. And then we just have to know something about 5, whether P and O are getting talked about. So you're really looking for some combination of KNP, LNP, something like that. A is not going to do it because it tells us about K and L, nothing about M and N. Same with B, it tells us about K and M and N, but nothing about the P group, right? So that's out. C gives us exactly what we need. It tells us that Kant, Mill, and Occam are lectured on, so that'll allow us to figure out who's on the other day within these groups, and it's our correct answer. In 11, we've got to assume that Kant and Nietzsche are German, so we'll circle them in green, and then Locke, Mill, and Occam are British philosophers, right? And then with that information, we got to figure out an order that couldn't be true from the answer choices. So the first and fourth lecture on British philosophers, sure, why not? You could have L there and M there. That would be fine. So we got to cross A out. First and fourth on German, again, K and N, not a problem. Second and third British philosophers, no problem, L and M. Cross that one out. Third and fourth on German, no, that's not going to work because that's just these two right here, right? And if they're both N, that's violating the rule that we can only lecture about each philosopher once. So D's our correct answer. If I was doing this without colored pencils, I would probably, use squares for the German guys and circles for the British guys or something if I didn't have colors to work with. 12 complicates matters a bit. We get an extra philosopher, Sartre, that is up in 3. So now, suddenly things are no longer as restricted, right? In fact, all these X's now go away. It would be possible. You couldn't have MN here because then nobody can go in 4. The fourth guy has nothing to talk about. But you could have, say, M here, L here, S here, and then N there. So all these possibilities come back into play. So pretend those X's aren't there anymore, and you got a set to figure out something that couldn't be true based on that. So Mill lectures on the first lecture and Nietzsche on the fourth. Mill first, Nietzsche fourth. Yeah, sure, that works fine. S would be there. We talk about K there, and either P or O in the last one. So we got to cross that out because we're looking for something that couldn't be true. What about Mill on the second lecture and Nietzsche on the third? No, that does violate this rule. Like we talked about, now there's nobody that the fourth guy can speak about, and we're in trouble. So that can't be true, and that makes it our correct answer. Okay, and that finishes out the game. See you on the next one.